All right, welcome, folks. Today we're going to be talking about the WordPress 100-year plan. I think this is really interesting because I don't think it's an actual product. And let me kind of explain why. I have been hearing from a friend about engineering as marketing, where you basically give something away, and the hope is that it drives attention, right? And it's not really for profit, it is more for attention and to market your company by talking about some concept or engineering effort that you've made. And here, I think trying to keep a website up for 100 years is a worthy technical goal. And I'm sure some people will find this useful. Now, we'll talk a little bit more about the pricing here and maybe not. But I think this is more about marketing and showing WordPress as this company with this long-term focus and a focus on individuals than actually making money. And for those reasons, as a marketing ploy, this is brilliant. I think it's really relatable and touchy-feely. I think it makes WordPress look incredible. Now, the pricing doesn't make sense, right? So the idea is you pay once $38,000 or $380 a year or about $30 a month to keep your website up forever, right? And this is kind of a package. It's a little deceptive to say this is just domain registration. It's not. It's more than that, right? You can buy a domain. I actually don't know if you can buy it for more than 5 or 10 years at a time, but that just buying the domain would be much cheaper. This is hosting and domain registration. So you not only get your, jimmycerrone.com domain, you also have a website, and WordPress offers that. And, there's some perks here, right, where it's like peace of mind, right, ownership protocols, blah, blah, blah. Really, this is a marketing ploy, and I think it's an interesting one. And I want to dig into the pricing a little bit more, right? So I said about $30 a month. So they're yearly. If you were to do this 1 year at a time, you would spend $8 for premium, which is pretty solid. Maybe you could spring for business for $25 a month, right? You could also self-host WordPress. So there's two WordPresses. There's WordPress.com and there's WordPress.org. So WordPress.com is the company that offers just websites, kind of like Squarespace, right? But WordPress.org is actually the software that powers WordPress, and it is free for anyone to use. So you could, in theory, create your own website and run your own server, which distributes the website to the internet, right? The nice thing about WordPress.com is they take care of that for you automatically, but WordPress.com maintains WordPress.org and keeps it free for everyone, right? So, okay, I got off track there a little bit, but as we can see, this is a marketing ploy, right? Because it doesn't make sense when you run the numbers. The pricing is premium, and you could get much cheaper and honestly probably very similar type of qualities with their existing plans. So this is a really interesting case of using engineering as marketing and really trying to connect with your core customer. So that is the end of me talking about the 100-year plan. Now I'm just going to talk a little bit about how WordPress works and just want to dig into it a little bit. So I talked a little bit about the WordPress.com versus WordPress.org, but I want to touch a little bit more on how WordPress makes money. So I'm looking here at WP Beginner here. And what's kind of interesting is, let's see, this is not the article I want, how they make money, right? So let's see, they're doing WordPress plans, which we looked at here. So you can have them host your website for you, and you can pay yearly. You can pay even 3 years, which is actually really cool. So this is like a 1/30th of their 100-year plan. And as you can see, it's much, much cheaper. They have some VIP setups. I don't know what this is, I guess. I don't even know where that is. Maybe they would call that enterprise. That's 25 grand a year, which is kind of interesting. Ads. I think this is really interesting. I want to know what WordPress ads are, right? So if you bump up to premium here, you get word ads. I do not know what those are, but I would be really curious to run the numbers against Google AdWords and see which one comes out better. Next up, they have premium themes. So this is kind of an interesting, WordPress is a platform. I think this is a really smart play. I think it's what ChatGPT is trying and failing to do, right? They're going to make plugins, right, that you could customize a chat bot with. I don't think they've succeeded. I think Character.ai has done a much better job with that, but that's a different topic. So very smart here. You want a marketplace, right? You want to be a platform. Look at how successful Amazon has been with that. And Walmart is copying that, right? They have a third-party seller list on their website now. They have WordPress features and products. What are these? No idea. Oh, okay. So they have like, oh, that's kind of interesting. This WooCommerce and Jetpack. I didn't realize they owned both of those. They basically make plugins to adapt WordPress, and they're going to make money on WooCommerce on every transaction, which is really smart. So WordPress is a weird company, right? Because they're a hosting company, they're a domain registrar, and then they do this kind of payment processing with WooCommerce, and they do analytics with Jetpack. So they're just in a lot of different areas here. It's a big company. Now, their revenues aren't insane. They make about 220 million a year, which is incredible, right? A lot of money. But for perspective, I think, Apple is in the tens of billions a year, maybe even 20 or 30 or 40, right? So this is not a lot. And what's kind of surprising about that is they host 65% of the web. So they have this dominant position, but they don't make that much money. And compared to Google, which, they don't have, they actually sold off their domain registration side of their company. They don't really maintain websites. The money is in the centralized player, right? Automatic and WordPress are very much about decentralized creators, which I think are great for the ecosystem. But there's not as much margin there. So Google is owns search, and that is where the money is, right? So very interesting. They own ads, which I will say Automatic has an interesting case with WordPress ads. I don't know how effective those are. Um, but that is basically their model. And I think they're going to continue to grow. They're a thoughtful, interesting company. There's a couple things to highlight. One, they're remote and distributed, and they've really been a leader in that. And so during COVID, they really got a lot of buzz for it. And two, they use a kind of outdated technology called PHP, and they are the arbiters of that. And I think that'll be an interesting choice to see, what that ends up like. Is it going to go the road of COBOL, which is what a lot of banks run on, and it's really difficult to find people to fix banking software as a result? Or can they revive the community, which I think to some degree they have? So, all right, let's wrap up. So the 100-year plan on WordPress is engineering as marketing more than an actual product, right? When you look at the cost, it does not really make sense because even with their pricing, you can have a commerce, which is one of the highest levels of service for cheaper than a yearly payout on the 100-year plan. Basically, this is a way to get people to look at WordPress, right? And they have a dominant position in online websites and hosting, but they don't make as much money anywhere near as Google. And this just shows the dominance and the power of search as a centralizing force compared to the decentralization of Automatic. So it'll be, and a similar example is Mastodon, which is decentralized in the Fediverse versus Facebook and Instagram, right? We'll see if that changes, but for right now, centralized seems to be king in the world of the internet. So thank you so much for joining me. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. All right. Take care, everyone.